My daughter banned me from her wedding, so I secretly canceled the whole thing. I paid for it. A harsh truth that sometimes your own children can hurt you the most. That's exactly what happened to me. My 27-year-old daughter, Ava, barred me from her wedding. For the past week, I'd been utterly devastated and drowning my sorrows. Her wedding, which I paid for entirely, was supposed to be yesterday. Yes, it was my wedding gift to her. Raising Ava was always a challenge, full of nightmares. So, when she announced her wedding plans, I was honestly relieved, hoping she'd finally found love and happiness. I stepped in to help financially since she and her fiancé were struggling to afford a decent wedding. And what did I get in return? I wasn't allowed to attend. The heartbreak was immense. A few days before the wedding, I called the wedding planner to add my brother to the guest list. He claimed the list was full, but said he'd see what he could do. I then asked him to email me the complete guest list. He hesitated, saying Ava had told him to keep it private. I quickly reminded him that I was her father and paying for everything, so he needed to follow my instructions. Reluctantly, he sent the list after I threatened to call his boss. My heart sank when I saw my wife and I weren't on it. Neither of our names appeared. I immediately called the wedding planner back, convinced it was an error. He then admitted he'd been explicitly told not to include our names, even sharing email exchanges with Ava as proof. I couldn't believe it. They were instructed to prevent us from even entering the venue. How utterly devastating, though. I knew Ava harbored animosity toward me. I never imagined she'd go so far as to exclude me from her wedding. I frantically tried calling her, but her phone went straight to voicemail since she was at her bachelorette party. She didn't return my calls that day or the next, despite my messages. On the third day, right before the wedding, went to her apartment where she lived with her fiancé. She brushed me off, claiming she was too busy with wedding preparations. By then, the wedding planner had likely told her I knew about the guest list, and she was clearly avoiding me. I went there seeking answers, but her demeanor only fueled my anger. I confronted her, telling her I knew she'd blocked me from the wedding. Her response? Good for you. It saved you time and effort traveling to the venue. If I have time, I'll forward the wedding photos. I lost it. There was no explanation, no regret, no apology. Her cruelty brought me to tears. I asked her what I'd done to deserve this. She accused me of always mistreating her, first by slapping a stepmother in her face, referring to Mercy, my current wife, and then by siding with others, even when Ava was at fault. She expected me to unconditionally defend her, even when she harassed my sister's daughter or was caught using pills in class. I did defend her then, preventing her from getting expelled and helping her get into college. But despite everything, she remained ungrateful. When she saw me crying, she accused me of generating negativity in her home. I reminded her that I was paying for her wedding. She became hostile, claiming I owed her this and wasn't doing her any favors. I snapped, telling her I owed her nothing. This wedding was a favor and I'd done more than enough. She dismissed me, saying she didn't have time for my emotional drama. When I got home, I broke down in front of my wife, Mercy, who is Ava's stepmother. Mercy is usually incredibly kind and forgiving, but for the first time she was furious. Seeing me so upset, she urged me to act. We need to stop Ava from feeling entitled to harm us, she insisted. Until a year ago, when she finally found a decent job, Ava had been living off my money. She had no savings for her wedding because of it. I'd had enough. I decided to teach her a lesson. I canceled all the wedding plans. I didn't care that I barely got any of my advance payments back. I considered canceling the wedding planner and venue directly, but I knew that would alert Ava, giving her time to make other arrangements. I wanted to ruin her special day. I let her keep her dress, since she already had it. A part of me felt bad, but after thinking it through, I knew I'd done more than enough for her. Why should I feel guilty about disrupting her wedding if she felt no remorse for her actions? On the wedding day, the wedding coordinator, caterers, and decorators were turned away at the venue. Security showed them the cancellation email, causing a huge scene. When the wedding planner called for the final payment, I told them I was no longer involved and they could talk to Ava about it. They informed me that Ava had gotten into an altercation with the venue guards when they denied her entry, nearly getting arrested for trespassing before her fiancé intervened. I had blocked her number when she tried to contact me. When she showed up at my house, I denied her entry. I simply wanted peace. Talking was pointless. Like before, her words would only make me feel worse. She needed to take responsibility for her actions. I couldn't keep forgiving her like a child. Ava only wanted her friends at the wedding, not family, so I honored her decision. Fortunately, she had to deal with her friends about the cancellation, saving me the trouble. My parents were the only ones unhappy with my decision. They argued that we should never treat our children cruelly, regardless of how badly they treat us. I told them Ava was to blame. She'd been cruel and egotistical her entire life. Despite my efforts to justify my actions, the guilt lingers. Try to be strong, but secretly, I regret canceling my own daughter's wedding. Writing this has brought some relief, though I'm not sure why I'm even sharing it. Update 1. Thank you all for your support. I honestly didn't expect people to praise my actions. I feared I'd be seen as foolish for taking such a harsh stance against my own daughter. A few of you asked about the history of Ava's animosity. My apologies for not including that earlier. Here are the details. My second wife is Mercy, who is 45. Ava is my child from my first marriage. I divorced Ava's mother when Ava was 7. My first wife left me for someone else. We were moving to Europe and didn't want Ava, so I was granted custody. When Ava was 13, I remarried Mercy, and ever since. Mercy and I have endured Ava's anger. Her hatred for Mercy is intense. As a teenager, it made sense. It must have been difficult to see someone replace her mother. Mercy, a certified children's counselor and teacher, assured me Ava would be fine. She believed as an adult, Ava would see me as more than just her father, but as a person needing a companion. I remarried 5 years after the divorce, hoping Ava would appreciate that I had raised her alone during those years. Both her mother and her mother's new spouse disliked Ava. Sadly, Ava showed zero gratitude. Instead, she became increasingly hostile toward Mercy and me. Things got so bad that I sent her to live with my sister, who had a daughter Ava's age, hoping they'd become friends. After a few smooth months, my sister gave up less than a year later. It was their last year of school, and my sister didn't want Ava's petty arguments with her daughter to affect her grades. She told me I had to take Ava back. Ava lived with us until she graduated high school, though she spent breaks with my parents. Eventually, she declared she'd finish high school living with them and refused to return home. I arranged carpooling since my parents lived far from her school. That arrangement worked as long as she was happy and peaceful. However, her high school grades were terrible. It was then I discovered she'd fallen in with the wrong crowd students doing drugs. She wanted to live with my parents because she had a bad boyfriend. She'd sneak out after they went to bed and roam the city until after midnight. She had to repeat her senior year of high school. Getting her through college was another nightmare. With her bad grades and depressing attitude, she wouldn't have been accepted anywhere else. God, I had contacts who helped her get into a respectable college. Again, she surrounded herself with the wrong crowd and used drugs. Things got so out of hand, she had to go to rehab. She finally graduated at 25 but relapsed the following year. So I had to send her back to treatment for a few months. She truly has been a pain. Calling her such wouldn't be impolite. She's constantly caused me distress, embarrassment, and misery. I'm so grateful for Mercy, my understanding wife. Any other woman might have talked me out of supporting Ava, but Mercy was the one who always urged me to persevere. Mercy has given so much of herself for Ava and me. I'm incredibly thankful. Ava's biggest grievance seems to be that I remarried, and especially that I married Mercy. Mercy isn't Native American, you see. Her family is from the Middle East. Her immigrant parents in the U.S. couldn't support their 5 children, so she grew up in an NGO. They came to the United States with nothing after fleeing a war-torn area. That's why I was drawn to Mercy. Despite a difficult upbringing and little money, she persevered, earned a master's degree, found a lucrative teaching position, and built a successful life for herself. Despite being a self-made woman, Ava calls her a gold digger. Yes, my family has some generational wealth from a successful export company spanning 2 generations. Since this is my second marriage and her first, Ava believes Mercy married me for financial gain. Ava argues that if it weren't for money, Mercy wouldn't have married a single father 12 years her senior. Mercy's 45, I'm 57. I don't know who put these ideas in Ava's head. That's why she called Mercy a gold digger. A few of you also asked if Ava's mother was involved. Actually, she hasn't contacted either Ava or me since our divorce. Last I heard, she was in Germany. Regarding the current situation, Ava tried to vent her rage by contacting me after I called off her wedding, but I blocked her on all platforms. When I canceled the wedding, my parents were upset and offered to cover the costs if Ava wanted to reschedule. However, Ava betrayed them, using harsh language to accuse them of supporting me. She even kicked them out of her house and told them not to return. Although her high school drug use was discovered by her teacher, who also attended the same gym as me, she blames my parents for it. After this, my parents had a change of heart and accepted my decision to cancel the wedding. I can't let Ava take advantage of and harm us whenever she pleases. I still haven't heard from her, so I have no idea what she's up to. My parents visited her 2 days ago, which was 10 days after her supposed wedding day. They are still not married. They're probably arranging a new date or simply haven't followed through. Oh, and I blocked the credit card I was using to make the payments. She still had access to it, but she hadn't used it much since getting her job. She'd probably be upset by this, but I don't care anymore. I don't feel guilty now that I know how she treated my parents. They've always cherished and protected her, and they're in their late 70s. Cutting Ava off was the right thing to do. Update 2. Hello everyone. Although it's been over a year since I last updated this, I've stayed in close contact with those who messaged or commented. A few weeks later, I learned Ava had married her fiancé in a secret ceremony, attended only by their closest friends. I wished her luck and was happy for her. I had no social media connection to her, so I had no idea what was happening in her life. My niece informed me that Ava had changed her Facebook status to reflect her and her husband's move to a nearby city. Everything in my life was going smoothly until I received a call from an unknown number a week ago. It was Matt, Ava's husband. I was anxious, fearing something bad had happened to her. He wanted to meet me in person, which surprised me, but he assured me she was okay. He claimed he'd explain when we met and proposed getting together for dinner since he was in town. In my heart, I hoped this would be a chance to make amends with Ava. I believed Matt was acting as a go-between, and she might be too embarrassed to approach me herself. I went to meet him with high expectations, but to my disappointment, Matt arrived alone. My heart sank. When I asked about Ava, he said he had no idea where she was. Then he revealed they were no longer together. According to Matt, Ava had a history of abuse during their marriage and a serious anger management problem. Even over small disagreements, she'd throw and smash household objects. He endured it as long as he could, but eventually, it became too much, and they split up. Matt continued saying Ava had psychological issues and blamed all her problems on other people. They'd argued a lot because they moved to a new city for his work. Ava was angry at him for taking her away from her hometown, even though she'd secured a comparable, well-paying position there. That was just one of their many problems. Matt apologized, face to face. He admitted he'd seen Ava treat me, Mercy, and my parents cruelly. But he chose not to intervene because Ava had used him against all of us. He felt bad for ignoring the warning signs and causing himself suffering. I told him Ava was to blame, not him. I also held myself partially responsible for not raising her well and expressed my regret for what he'd endured with. Then Matt asked me for a favor. He claimed Ava was pleading with him to take her back because she was upset by the breakup. But after experiencing her mistreatment, he'd lost interest. He still wished her well and asked if I could help her during this trying period. Because of her rage, Ava had lost all her true friends, and Matt felt I could help her by taking her to therapy. I told him that, although I wished I could, Ava wouldn't allow me to be close to her. He understood, and we both agreed we wanted to help Ava if she would let us. After that conversation, I decided to go see Ava. Unfortunately, things didn't go as planned. She attacked Mercy and me, but I had gone alone, so Mercy wouldn't witness Ava's anger. In an attempt to soothe her, I apologized. Right or wrong didn't matter to me then. I just wanted to help her. I advised her to see a therapist first, but otherwise, she could say anything she wanted about me. Ava brought up the past without listening. She screamed that she wanted to kill Mercy because she hated her so much. She admitted she was embarrassed by our marriage and embarrassed to introduce Mercy as her stepmother, which is why she had barred us from attending her wedding. She threw me out of the house when I tried to reason with her, accusing me of being the cause of all her issues. To be honest, I don't care anymore, and I'm not sure if I was right or not. I don't know how to help her, but all I want is for her to recover. Update 3i. Appreciate all your moral support. When I created the last update, I was pretty upset, and this space has truly helped me relax. Mercy advised me to get in touch with Ava's closest school friend. We knew each other well because her family lived next door. I messaged her on social media to explain the situation. She now lives in South Africa. Since she was the only person Ava had never fought with, I asked her to contact Ava, hoping she could get through to her. Her friend promised to help, and thankfully she did. Ava committed to therapy. I think it's going well because she came to see my parents a week ago and expressed regret for her actions. She acknowledged that she was no longer able to contain her hatred because it had become so strong. She still holds me responsible for everything, though, and stated that she would never forgive me, no longer harbor any animosity toward her. Even though I'm not involved, I simply hope she has a happy life. Thank you for your support, everyone. I sincerely hope no father ever has to deal with their own child's intense hatred. I genuinely appreciate you staying until the very end. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe if you truly enjoy our videos. Enjoy your wonderful day.
Thank
you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.